Hi guys, welcome to our very first flipped classroom lesson. We are going to be going over some things with poetry today. So I know that we have some knowledge about poetry, but we're going to get a little bit more and see what we can discover. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want you to do to kind of get your brain going is to make a list. The first list is what is poetry, and the second list is going to be what is genre. So you're going to take some time to think about what both of those things are and just jot down what you think of when you think of poetry, or what do you think of when you hear the word genre. So go ahead and take some time to do that right now. All right, so that was really quick, I know, but we just wanted to take some time to get our brain going and think about what those two different things are. We'll learn a lot more about them as the lesson go on, but definitely wanted you to have your own thoughts about it too. So just so that we know that we're on the same page, I'm going to go ahead and give you the definition. Poetry is writing that formulates a concentrated, imaginative awareness of experience in language chosen and arranged to create a specific emotional response through meaning, sound, and rhythm. So poetry is structured a certain way, and it elicits emotions, and it produces feelings about a topic for someone, maybe the narrator, the author, or even the reader. The other term that we're going over right now is genre. So genre is a category of artistic, musical, or literary composition characterized by a particular style, form, or content. So how we talked previously about how different types of literature are categorized as different genres because of the way in which they're structured or the way in which they're written. So basically today we have an essential question, and we're going to focus on what are some of the characteristics of poetry. And we want to focus on the characteristics of poetry because we want to determine what genres different poetry or different literary pieces fall into. And we're going to do that through the poem Ego Tripping. So today in class I gave you guys the poem Ego Tripping as a handout. You're going to need that out in order to do the next part. You're going to first listen to a video of someone reading the poem Ego Tripping, but while that's happening, you're going to highlight it and mark it using the methods that we've experienced in the past. So highlighting the text, things that you find important, or marking it up. And while doing that, feel free to stop the video if you need some time to write some notes on the side or to ask questions within your own notes. So the next slide is actually watching the video. Let's go ahead and check that out. So, guys, that was the poem Ego Tripping by Nikki Giovanni. Actually, one of my favorite poems, and one that I've spent a lot of time breaking down and determining characteristics of it. So I really hope that you got some good notes on that. So Right now, we're just going to go through some things that you may have gotten from that poem or some things that you may have taken away. So, right now, if you didn't have the opportunity, I want you to continue to jot down some notes. I want you to take some time and think about what you just heard and think about what you see on your paper and see if you can determine maybe the author's purpose or what was the style of this poetry, what were some characteristics that you noticed about this poem specifically. So, take a few seconds to do that. All right. I know that you may still be writing, and that's totally fine. Feel free to stop the video if you need to continue your thoughts. But I want to take this time right now to share with you some of the things that I came up with when I went over this piece again. And the things that you have right now are the stanzas. So one thing that I noticed was the various stanzas, how this piece was written. Other things that I noticed were the historical references or the geographical references. Nikki spends a lot of time talking about really well-known places or places that we've heard of or things in history that have occurred. And also that like the claim that the narrator, the person who's telling the story, is that they're ancient. So they're old, they're wise, they're filled with wisdom. And then because of that, they deserve respect and they should be given respect. And also the idea of empowerment. If you notice the way that it's written, I is the only word that is capitalized throughout the poem. It's a sense of empowerment. It's a sense of self. So those are some of the takeaways that I got from it. You may have very similar ones. You may have different ones. And that's great because we'll continue to talk more about this as this unit goes on. And those are just coming back up again for you. So now what? So if Ego Tripping by Nikki Giovanni has these characteristics, how would you categorize it? What would you say it is? Would you just say it's poetry? What kind of poetry? What did you get from it? So what genre is it really? Right now, I want you to take some time and write down what you think based on that, just based on the things that we've shared, based on the things that you've done yourself. What genre is this? Okay. So based on the stanzas and figurative language, I would classify this text as poetry for sure, which is what we're talking about. And as we know, there are different types of poetry. Feel free to go more in depth with that, and you'll learn more about various types of poetry as the unit continues. But also the use of historical and geographical reference, along with emphasis on the narrator classifying the text as a piece of empowerment or expression. So I feel like because of the way in which it was structured, because of the way in which the word choice, to me, that speaks empowerment, expression. That may be the message, the author's purpose of this particular text. So what next? So for the next steps in continuing this lesson on poetry, but also the unit on poetry, I want you to bring your notes into class tomorrow for additional exploration of poetry itself, but also specifically the poetry by Nikki Giovanni, the person whose poem we just read. Overall, I think you guys did great. I hope you come prepared for class tomorrow for a great experience and an opportunity to explore more about poetry and poetry written by people like Nikki Giovanni, who write poems of empowerment and poems that really truly motivate us.